here. Very good. So we'll get the second session underway. At the state of the match at the moment, Sourav Kothari is on 382 at the table, and Peter Gilchrist on 885. I'll just remind you that it's a race to 1500, so we'll be going through to the duration. So when you're on, Sourav, ready to go. Thank you. Two. Four. Seven. Sourav Kothari, 7.
Welcome back to those of you who are still with us. There'll be a few of you like myself that have taken a break. Lunch on the eastern coast of Australia, afternoon tea in New Zealand, breakfast in parts of Asia. The English might be waking up soon. Peter are leading almost exactly 500. Sometimes you can get a little bit of a change of the rhythm of the game when they take a break. One player can go cold, the other player can get the run of the balls for a while. Sourav will be hoping that's what happens.
Three.
I think Peter's been very impressive so far. He had to work very hard for that first 500 points.
Eight.
It's finished a little awkward. We might see a long Jenny here. Long Jennies are much easier on these tables than the star tables and shaved cloths that these guys sometimes play on. Oh, and he's gotten the double kiss.
Sourav Kothari, 8.
Haven't finished too badly. Peter may play a screw cannon from white to red here. If he can make that white miss the baulk pocket. Or he may play a run through in off the white. It's a little hard to tell. I think part of that was trying to make sure the white didn't catch the jaws of that book pocket there. It was just an awkward little angle. There's a chance for Sourav here if he can play a nice little run through cannon. Not an ideal drop on the red. Looks like he's going to get the long rest, long cue, possibly play a thin cannon, red to yellow. Just has to judge the slide off that top cushion nicely. Don't know what length cue Sourav has. Most of the players would be able to reach this with their own extensions. Got a choice now of putting the red or playing the cannon. I think he'll probably play the cannon. Try and develop that yellow. You'll see a lot of the players look for the rest along the top cushion like Sourav did then. We have these tables set up, excuse me, for billiards, with the ball runs running along the top of the table, which means the rests have to go down the sides. It's not the way they usually are these days, with snooker being the main game at a lot of venues. It's much easier for the referees the way we have them set up for refereeing billiards.
12.
Looks like a simple enough the yellow to leave a drop cannon next.
14.
Here's a chance to get to top and develop a break, try and eat into this deficit. I have to play this a little bit thick with a little bit of check side. Just getting the referee to check that he's spotted correctly inside the D. A little bit of work to be done unless he wants to take a risky pot red in the middle. Played that nicely to leave it enough yellow. Probably would have liked another roll of the yellow. That's a bad miss. Wouldn't normally miss that. That's not having quite settled back into the match after the break. was the shot to develop this break quickly. He could have rolled that red in and played a few hazards, but that was the way to quickly develop good position. Pop this up for a drop cannon. See if he can get his first good drop cannon for the day. They've all finished very awkward. It's not an ideal drop again on the red. Going to have to play a very thin little cannon. I had a quick chat to Peter during the break. He said he's never worked so hard for his first 500 points. Very rare to see a player of this standard make 500 points without any significant number at the top of the table, but every drop cannon's worked out badly for him so far today.
14. 16. 18.
A little bit of work to be done here. If you can push that red into the jaws and make a cannon on the white with side off the cushion, but I'm not sure that it's on. I think that's what he would like to do, is play thin off the red, push it along the rail but not pot it, and cannon into the white. Yeah, perfect. Now he's got an opportunity to get to top in a couple of shots. He could pot this cushion first, or he could just stun straight for position, or he can pot it with a bit of running off that jaw. Probably wanted another roll of the yellow there. He'll have to hit this slightly thinner than half ball or play it as a run through. He's played that as a run through. Oh, that's perfect. He likes this shot. He likes leaving this cannon red, top cushion white. Bump the white up a little more, get a nice angle on the red.
30.
Probably going to play the same shot again here.
33. 35.
He'd like to have the angle here to run through the red and back to the other side of the table, to the straight back to top.
38.
Very close there. Might be a tiny bit low. We'll need strong running side on this. Ah, yes, that's good. Probably like to have had the cue ball just a little bit higher there. He might need a little bit of side off the cushion. Or is he screwing back? Ah, yes, he's improving his angle by screwing back, coming off the side rail.
46.
It's not quite perfect. We'll probably see a couple of little cannons, probably back one this way and then one back the other way. Yep. He'll hope to have the angle here for the slip through, which means he flicks both balls and passes onto the other side of them. Oh, he didn't have enough angle, so he's going to have to go away from top and work his way back. Joined by Gary Norman from England. Go, Gary.
Afternoon, Jason. How you
Sometimes
doing?
known as Storman Norman, sometimes known as Jizza.
Thank you. All those nicknames greatly appreciated, I'm sure.
How have you enjoyed the trip, Gary?
It's been excellent so far. Yeah, some really good billiards. Not from me, I hasten to add, but certainly from some of the top guys. This match has been interesting so far in terms of Peter's all-round play, which has been demonstrated very, very well. His control and application is showing a multitude of shots. That not being one of them,
No.
but he hasn't been able to get the balls to the top too often so far. But certainly his all-round play has been excellent, I think.
Has been, hasn't it? He's scrambled well.
Yes.
You use that expression in England, scrambling?
What, sorry?
Scrambling.
Scrambling.
It's when they're not quite working, but you still hold the table.
Ah, right, okay.
And you and I haven't had a chance to renew our personal rivalry this trip.
No, not this time.
No.
We normally manage to do that,
We
don't we,
do, yeah.
Jason? But no, we've avoided each other this time.
I'll
But,
put in a special request for us to play one another in October in the RACV.
that would be good. That would be good. We always have fun. I did manage to draw my roommate Rob Hall, as I usually do whenever we
Yes,
seem to go
that's
away.
always a shame. You
Always end
travel
up playing Rob.
10,000 miles and play your
Yeah,
mate.
yes. It is what it is, as they say.
Can't tell from this angle whether he has to force in off this yellow or whether he's got a thin cannon on.
Yeah, in off in the middle, a bit of a forcing one here, I think, perhaps.
Quite a difficult one to control, which I think is why he's
I think he might.
having a think about it.
He might lose the red if he plays it
That's
with some
right.
pace. Was he playing a thin cannon, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, thin
Yeah,
cannon.
nice thin cannon.
Decent control there, leave himself an in off yellow. Yellow in and out of Baulk. Now short loser to the middle with yellow up behind the spot maybe.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky. He's got to run through it. Shouldn't be present a problem, but unless he's playing this off the side, this angle's deceptive. He may be playing a cannon here, or he'll have to play this very thick with quite a lot of check. Oh yeah, nicely played.
Yeah. And now the
Drop
the
cannon.
standard drop cannon.
Let's see if Sourav can get a better result than Peter's got. No, another one that's slightly awkward.
Always the way when you're chasing it, I think, isn't it? You tend to
Yeah.
get the covers on shots like that.
Let's give a Melbourne restaurant a free plug. How was dinner at the Laksa King last night in Flemington?
Yeah, it was very good.
Pretty good?
It was very good. Excellent food. Good laugh had by all. The food kept coming, and Steve Mifsud was responsible for that. Kept ordering pretty much everything on the menu, I think.
We often let Steve do the ordering.
Yeah, it was good food. Pretty spicy actually. I don't mind spicy, but it was even for me it was a little bit tasty. Shame you missed that, Jason. Actually, you
Yes,
had a pizza for one.
did have a pizza. Peter had a couple of slices. He was. Oh, that is
A
a
little
tricky
put-
shot. That one when you're
Yeah.
very close to the object ball and you put a touch of running.
Little bit too much running on that.
Yeah, they-
Just
they do grab.
squared it off a little bit.
I can think of about 200 times I've missed that shot exactly that way, and that's probably just this year.
Yeah, indeed. These Kloskas, they're new. They are quite responsive, and you get just a slight a little bit too much on the ball, and it can really grab.
Peter hates potting white and double balking, but I think he's got no choice there.
Trying to keep the pressure really on Sourav here.
He might tempt Sourav there. Sourav generally likes to play the safety miss. But that red being in the corner may tempt him. No, he's going to play across with a touch aside.
Yeah, just to leave his cue ball just slightly in bulk. Yeah,
Perfect weight.
very well played.
Dangerous shot if you don't get the weight right on that one. Peter will have a plan here. He'll be planning to pot the red twice off the spot and leave himself a cannon once the red goes into the middle. Leave himself a cannon to recover that ball. That'll be his plan. He's having a look at it now.
Yeah.
He likes to play this cannon off the top cushion.
Yeah. Alternatively, it was a bit more difficult, but alternatively, he could elect to take the red to the middle spot and then pot it off the middle spot and leaving it off into the corner bag. But that's not what he's going to do, I don't think. Here.
No, he likes this shot. We've often discussed, he's a bit low on that one.
Yeah.
He's going to have to do something else. Very rarely see the players play 5 shots on purpose, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does pot cannon here, and fingers crossed.
So anyway, Jason, how's the arrangements going for the Worlds in October? I know
they're going very well.
You're head of the committee there, I believe.
No, I'm not head of the committee, just one of a cast of thousands. I have my areas of responsibility, and we have a number of people with other areas of responsibility. He did. You don't see that very often, playing a 5-shot.
No.
He's finished on the half-ball line, so... Oh, I forgot the red was going there. Well, he's still all right. Yes, it was a very awkward position, that. It was hard to see.
Yeah, he's finished a little bit too low there for the natural in the middle.
Yes, I think the World Championship's going to be a fantastic event, Gary. It's going to be a little bit different to what we're used to with major events, in that it's in an old-style billiard room with traditional billiards tables, bags instead of empire rails.
Yeah.
A bit of an old world feel with honour boards and leather chairs, and a bit of the sort of a gentleman's club feel, although these days the ladies are welcome at the gentlemen's clubs.
Very much so. The venue itself, you took us there earlier on in the week when we first arrived. The venue is absolutely stunning. The RACV club in itself is just a wonderful place, and the room pretty special, definitely. I would certainly urge anybody that's got the ability, both time-wise and fancies it, to certainly to come along, because it will be a special event. There's no two ways about that.
It will be good. We're having the excellent Dan Lynch, who's streaming this. He's there the whole week, so every match on the pit table, the championship table, will be streamed with commentary. And
I think the beauty of that, it's again a bit like some of the events that the IBSF tend to organise. The beauty of the World Championships this year will be that the hotel accommodation is actually at the venue, which is such a bonus, for everyone. And with everything that's available there, facilities-wise, with the restaurants and the cafes and everything else, it's just the full ticket, really.
It is, yeah. If you didn't want to leave the building, you wouldn't have to.
Absolutely, yep. Although, why wouldn't you? In Melbourne, the most livable city in the world.
That's right. Well, we might have slipped to second this year, I think, behind Vienna.
Exactly.
But we're working on it.
Still right up there, though, definitely.
We have a free tram in the central business district. He's landed the wrong side of that red again. He's just not got those drop cannons right. Sometimes you can land the wrong side of the red and get a good result, but that hasn't happened so far.
This could be, if he can get behind the red with the rest, maybe. No, he's going to try the cannon off the rail.
It's the cue under his body.
Yeah.
Nice cannon. Don't try that at home, folks, unless you're 6'5".
Yeah, a little soft screw now, bringing the white back to where the yellow roughly is, if he can get the weight right.
Oh, there's a good opportunity here.
Perfect. So, with the lights of almost 4 months left before the Worlds, Jason, how much organising do you think is still left to do?
There's still quite a bit to do. We had a meeting yesterday and we've locked in all the session times. We're assuming we'll have a full field of 60, which I'm sure won't be a problem. So we've locked in all the session times. The RACV has 30,000 members, the RACV City Club, and they have a magazine where they're promoting the event, and they have quite a few billiards players who are members of the club. So we'll be selling tickets, which is a bit of a first for billiards.
Sure, very much so.
Tickets have to go on sale soon, which means we had to have the session times locked in so people can, book their tickets. So that'll be quite interesting how that goes. We can seat about 70 around the pit table without bringing in grandstand seating.
Sure.
So that's in the to be decided basket. If ticket sales go very well early, we may be bringing in some grandstand seating.
Yep.
We have a number of irons in the fire regarding sponsorship. People are just considering their options. But we're fairly confident that the prize pool will be higher than it's been for a number of years. But we can't lock that in yet.
No.
I can make an announcement now though. I was going to make it later, but you've tempted me.
Let's let it go.
I can confirm that there will be a special prize for 1,000 break.
Excellent.
It's not, that's a big ask. It's a world record. 1,000 break under the Baulk line crossing rule would be a new record. Mike Russell holds the current record, 957 under the Baulk line crossing rule.
Yep.
I just quietly had a whisper to you the other day that it was going to be $10,000. We're now up to $15,000.
15,000. Wow.
So it's going to be very tempting.
Very tempting indeed.
And there's a few of these guys who money helps them focus the mind. So Peter Gilchrist, Mike Russell, Dave Corsier, Pankaj Advani, Matthew Bolton, and a few others. The challenge is there.
There's a few there that that are absolutely capable of it. Some of which obviously have made the 1,000 break and maybe slightly more their cup of tea, but certainly others, the likes of Devaj Harrier, maybe even.
Yes, he looked when he
made his the real deal.
Yes, when he made his 412 unfinished the other day, he looked like he could have gone all day. He had them under complete control. Geet's making a comeback. He's well capable of making 1,000 break at his best.
Yep. Yeah, indeed.
Sourav's still improving. It might be a little bit too early for young Sri Krishna Suri, but he's a fantastic player to watch. Won the Indian Championship this year and he's only 18 years of age.
He is indeed, and he's certainly one for the future. Seems to have no nerves whatsoever. I played him last year in Leeds. Whilst I'm not the right opposition for him, certainly in terms of his ability to just smash the balls in from everywhere on what are quite tight tables in Leeds was quite astonishing, really.
The confidence of youth.
So, just one last question at the moment, Jason, in terms of the Worlds. When do you think that you will be in a position to be able to get the entry packs confirmed for people to be able to start making arrangements?
Very soon. We're looking at the draft. It'll all go out much earlier than it has before. because the majority of the field will be coming from the other side of the world.
It's important for planning purposes, yes, definitely.
I would think the initial invitations to the Order of Merit and former world champions will go out, and to the national governing bodies will go out within 2 weeks. And they'll probably have till mid-August to say yes or no. And then we'd be issuing more invitations subject to how many commit.
Very good, very good.
So yeah, it'll be organised long in advance.
Yeah. And as you rightly say, that's the most important thing for the international travellers, to be able to get the best deals in terms of flights and the like. It's important to book as early as you can. Certainly on the route from the UK to Australia, which tends to be quite well saturated with people wanting to travel anyway. You have to get in early.
Well, even our neighbours in New Zealand, I've been in touch with one of the guys in New Zealand who's probably watching this. There's a special on this weekend, $110 return, only for 24 hours. So he wanted to know, can I come?
$110, that's very cheap, isn't it?
He's coming as a referee, and I think we'll be happy to have him.
I would say that's a bunny hop, but even Australia to New Zealand is something like a 3 hour 30-minute flight, isn't it? I remember doing it 18 months ago and just thought it was literally just a puddle jump, but it's certainly more than that.
A little bit quicker going that way because it's downhill, slightly slower coming back. We're hoping to get a good crew of our New Zealand friends over for this event.
Yes.
Wayne Carey usually comes to England, and Russ Delahunty sometimes comes.
Gary Oliver, hopefully.
We're hoping Gary will play. There's another player, Adesh Shidatkar.
Yeah.
Sorry, Adesh, if I've pronounced your name wrong.
Maybe Darren Taylor, I think, is coming over.
Possibly. Mark Taylor, possibly. There's quite a few players over there. I don't know about Peter de Groot or Derek Gibb, or I'm just not quite up on who's playing a lot over there, but we'd be hopeful that we'd get 5 or 6 from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Each country is allowed to nominate 8.
And of course for the Worlds we've got a slightly different team in terms of kind of event management, with Steve Cowie back as TD, I believe, with Paul Cosgrave as TD here as he's number 1. Is that right, Jason? Am I correct there?
We're still negotiating.
Still negotiating.
Paul will have a senior role.
I think. He's not in the room here at the moment to listen to that. But
Steve Cowie's agreed to be tournament controller.
Yeah.
We have a few referees and officials lined up from around the world. I can't make any announcements yet because there's others waiting on answers.
Sure.
But it'll be, very much hope to have an international field of officials and referees.
Excellent controlled shot there from Peter. Maybe slightly too
been gas
hard.
bagging away. He's 7 short of 100. Yes, this is a bit awkward. Looks like the short Jenny's not on. He's going to play the long cannon.
Yeah, this will have to be a cannon off at the top rail, I think. I don't think he can get it direct. Slightly too wide.
This is a shot that lots of players play different ways.
Yeah.
Oh, that's lovely. He's in good position now. This is yet another break where he's had to work hard for his points. Those drop cannons just haven't been nice to him. That's why Walter Lindrum used to say, don't go to the top via the drop cannon. Go via the magic circle, because they can go wrong.
I think, however, though, the modern player views it slightly differently. Than the balls are different in terms of weight and composition. It makes it a bit easier to get the split rather than them being stuck together with the drop cannon with the older balls.
102.
It's only wiped its feet off the jaw.
best of positions, probably a cannon now.
So I think a soft screw cannon, you're probably right.
Taking the red across to the opposite corner top pocket.
He's gone straight for the jugular there, knocking the white behind the spot.
Now he's left himself the snooker player's dream.
Oh, he may have a
little soft screw.
He may have an in-off here, a thin in-off in the middle. A bit hard to tell from this angle, or he may go the long pot.
Jason. Might be a little bit wide, but he might be able to make it.
I think he's tossing up.
No, he's playing the yellow.
He's got them in nice position for really only the second time in the match, although he's scored 1,000 points. It's extraordinary.
Peter's been suffering a little bit with his back of late. He had a few problems over the last few days, and managed to find a chemist yesterday to get one of these heat beanbag things that you put in the microwave, and I think that seems to have done the trick a little bit. He was finding it difficult to bend down the day before yesterday.
Breaks now 116. I suppose I've never been played in a match of this length, but I think once you passed 1,000, you'd feel like you're on the home stretch. Although Sourav's well capable of making a couple of 200 or 300s and closing the gap. He's just gone a bit far there. He just hasn't quite had the touch during this game. Yes, there's a number of other things in plan for the World Championship. We're hoping to have a little interesting competition daily where people will predict the high break for the day, and there'll be a little bit of a prize.
High break for the day.
Yeah, that's we're still working on that, but it'll be a little bit of fun.
Very good.
There's quite a few things that are being... he's missed it.
Misjudged that one quite badly.
And he's left him top two. So.
But with Sourav coming to the table now, the onus is really on him to make a very big break to even start to assert any sort of pressure on Peter.
Yeah,
being close to
650 behind perfect top, he really needs to make...
Needs to be a 400 at least. Yeah.
It's been an interesting year this year. Last year 4 Indians made the quarterfinals and they were all eliminated at that stage. Mm-hmm. This year 4 Indians in the quarterfinals and 3 of them progressed.
3 of them progressed, yep.
Rob Hall and Steve Mifsud were the unlucky 2 that made it last year and didn't make it this year. Rob was the defending champion this year but didn't produce his best this week.
And yesterday's semi-final, Sourav versus Devage, Harrier Devage, obviously got the far better start and went off like a train, and everybody was thinking that maybe it was going to be his year for the final, beating Sourav quite comfortably, but I don't know quite what happened there. Maybe Devage fell asleep, I think, for probably an hour of the game there, and played some uncharacteristic shots, and Sourav was able to stay focused and eventually turn out the winner.
Yes, Devage is improving so rapidly. Everybody is describing him as a future world champion.
Yeah.
He just hasn't quite broken through yet for a big win, as far as I know. Well, not outside India, but it's only a matter of time. Yeah. He's such a good player.
Yeah, definitely. He's
such good soft touch.
Yeah, his cuemanship is quite incredible. And he looks so comfortable when he's top of the table. It looks so easy, you know, and that often is a sign of a really, really, really good player when they make it look so blindingly easy, which it most definitely isn't.
Well, Gary, I'm going to take a break. I've spent all day, every day with you for a week. So I hope you won't take offence when I say that's enough for me.
No, you can buy the pizza later, don't worry.
The next voice you hear on this microphone will be Grant Medley.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Okay. Right, we're now about to be joined in the commentary box by Grant Medley. Hopefully we'll be able to get a bit of banter going here, Grant. There's a good chance of that, maybe, I think.
Mr. Norman, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yourself?
Good. Have you enjoyed the morning session of billiards?
Indeed. It's been very, very good.
I've been at home watching the coverage on Cue Ball TV. Excellent service provided by Dan Lynch. Urge those watching now to jump on to their social media pages and share the page.
Yep.
There's 1.3 billion Indians out there, and hopefully we can get half of them on watching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, you're right. The standard of broadcast is just very, very good. The whole package in terms of what you see on social media and the way it's put together with the 3 camera setup that we have here. Excellent.
Yeah, it's a fantastic tool to expose the sport to those who've never seen the sport play before. You know, in the past we have seen attempts in the UK to broadcast, not to this level, but it's always good to be able to tune in and watch the footage.
They've had a couple of goes in the UK in recent years at the World Championships to broadcast this kind of level, but I would argue that it's that this has certainly got the edge in terms of the way this is put together.
Look, Cue Ball TV have been doing this for quite some time now, and every year they're developing their software, purchasing new cameras. You've probably seen throughout the footage different camera angles, great close-ups of the play at the top of the table. Really been able to see what side is applied to the ball and what they're doing with the cue ball.
Indeed. And obviously for the Worlds, we were speaking about that a little bit earlier on with Jason. For the Worlds we'll have I believe a similar provision, maybe even more than one table streamed. I'm not quite certain of that, but that may be on the cards potentially. Not just the pit table, but there's another table at the other end of the room in the RACV club, which sits in a similar kind of almost mirrored situation to the pit table, which may be good for streaming as well.
Yeah, one thing about the RACV club is there's plenty of room there to accommodate seating and also commentary, etc. Break's moving along here. We're up to 78. He's going to incur a baulk line warning soon.
Yeah, up to 78. Yeah, didn't quite get through the ball there. Kind of quit on the shot a little bit.
Yeah.
We're not wishing to be overcritical, but I think that's pretty much what happened there. Didn't get through the ball. Didn't get the stun necessary on it to make the cannon.
Yeah, look, it must be a hard place to be, 500 odd points down, and your opponent's 2/3 of the way to the finish line. It's a unusual headspace to be in. Sourav has been around long enough and he's played in many finals and made many great comebacks. If he's able to produce something here, it'll be a great comeback considering the morning he's had.
Definitely.
So Peter's trying to work the balls back to the top of the table here. Peter hasn't had the best morning himself. He's struggled to get to the top of the table, and he's been playing a very open game.
Sorry, can you repeat that? Apologise.
Just saying. Sorry, mate.
Sorry, I apologise. I wasn't
No,
listening
you're
to
okay,
you, Grant.
Just saying, Peter's struggled to get the top himself and stay there for long periods of time. He's been having to play some unorthodox shots.
Yeah, Peter. Peter's game this morning, as we saw from the off, as you rightly point out, he was finding it difficult to maintain top, but where Sourav was on it almost straight away, but he couldn't keep it together. But I'm sure we'll see with the closing as the match closes out. Peter probably show us a bit more of the top.
Great camera angle here. Clear vision. That was a bad kiss there. He's got a tricky little shot here.
So immediately, just moving on to something related here. Immediately after this event, you've got the Nationals here, Grant. Australian Nationals at the same venue here.
Yeah.
They start tomorrow.
Yeah, they do. Another good field for the National. Obviously, our mate Matthew Bolton is favourite. He's paying $1.02 to win the title. It's always a great event. No Baulk line crossing in play in that title, so it's it makes life easier for those of us who get up to the 80 mark once in a blue moon.
Yep.
Probably once every 2 years for me, but yeah.
Yeah, we've got Matthew lingering in the background here in the commentary area, and Manuel, otherwise known as Rob Hall, he's here.
It's an all-star cast.
Yeah. Might get a little bit of commentary from Manuel shortly, perhaps, if he feels up to it.
So Peter's just checking the spot there and seeing with the red spots in relation to Sourav's ball.
Yeah, I think now this is the time when he'll maybe keep the balls at the top, and this could be the opportunity to run out maybe. A couple of decent shots needed just to get the white in the right position.
Yeah. Be playing this underneath the white, this side.
Just kick it off the bottom rail.
Yeah.
Nearly there in position now. So at this point he needs 150 more. No, sorry, 400 more.
Yeah.
We're to 1500 now, isn't it? Not 1250 as yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah, 395 more.
Yeah. So maybe to run out might be a bit more of a challenge. Pete did say this morning that he was trying to get maybe the opportunity to have a 500 today, because we did had a pint on it earlier on in the week. So he was conscious about getting the pint off of all of us, I think. But
Yeah. Yeah, there's not many tournaments you don't see a break. There hasn't been a break over 500 as yet.
No.
We've had a bit of rain down here that does come into play with this room. The tables can play heavy.
Yep.
Obviously with new cloth too, a lot of slide. It takes a lot to adapt, and obviously the wider throw of the cue ball.
Certainly does change conditions, definitely. And it also, because of the type of building that this is, the conditions vary between table depending on the location in the building when it rains. And that has been, I think, a little bit of a challenge for some of the top players as well to cope with the move from one table to the other, to be able to produce the real big breaks. I think the highest is still held by Peter, who made a 452, I think, yesterday, unfinished.
Yeah. Yeah, look, I think as the week goes by, I'm sure Matthew will be looking to improve that. With
the Nationals, definitely. Yeah.
And no Baulk line crossing rule as well. I can't remember the last time there hasn't been a 500 break in our national event.
Yeah. Having said that, I don't think the baulk line crossing really is too much of a problem for the top guys. They seem very adept at being able to get in and out and almost finish on a sixpence. So I don't think we could class that as a barrier to making the breaks necessarily.
Not really, not with the players. The floating white does, it really improves your odds of leaving low on the red for a baulk line crossing. I've been lucky enough to play in a few events, and I've only had to negotiate it probably a handful of times, and it makes the game quite interesting, to be honest.
Absolutely, yeah. Adds another dimension, doesn't it? Yeah. And dare I say, it probably makes it a little bit more watchable for the general viewer.
Yeah, even for the seasoned players, when you see someone out of position, and we've already seen in this match some of the shots that Peter's had to play to pass through baulk have been fantastic.
Yep. So he moves on to the baulk line crossing rule coming into operation here between 80 and 100. Which, for those of you that are not familiar, means that his cue ball needs to cross over the baulk line anywhere between 80 and 100, which I think he's going to do that now, get it out of the way. Yeah, so a lot of players do tend to land low and take 3 or 4 cushions and cut the angle down to lead positions, such as you can see here. It's a natural angle, and it gets you relatively close to where you want to be with the opponent's ball close to the spot. Nice gathering shot there from Peter. Just a little bit heavy-handed there. Maybe looking at the double kiss here. Yep. Yeah. Now, maybe the trademark underarm shot from Peter, or maybe not. Yeah, backhand cue. Yeah. We saw Peter yesterday in his semi-final match. Our referee here, Neil, actually had to grab a chair and move the light fitting for one of Peter's shots. That was quite entertaining. Indeed. I don't know if you saw that or not, but yeah. It's not very often you see Peter with a rest in his hand. No, certainly not an extension, being 6'6" as he is. Yeah. Doesn't often need it. Even these shots are not as easy as they look, because it's difficult to actually see the tip of the cue and to judge the pace you need to hit the ball at. Yeah. He looks a lot more comfortable today, Peter. I played him in our last pool match, and he was definitely struggling with his back. He looks like he's getting over the ball a lot better today. Yeah, he's got over that a bit now. As I mentioned earlier, while Jason was here, he's been applying some heat to his back over the course of the last 2 evenings or so, and that seems to have sorted it at the moment. He's suffering a bit more as he gets a bit older, like we all do, I suppose, with kind of back issues, especially when you're the height that Pete is. Yeah, it is tough. I mean, I'm 6'3" myself, and I look at guys like Peter and Javaj Harry, and they get so low over the cue ball. Their backs are straight. Yeah. I don't know how they do it. Peter's 51 now, I believe. He's what, sorry? 51-year-old Peter. Almost 52. Yeah. So he's not a spring chicken. No. He just reminded me of my age there, Grant. Thanks very much for that. It's all relative, of course. That's it. So Peter, once again, he's got the balls close to where he wants them to make a sizable break to finish this match. Unlike a lot of the top players, Peter doesn't tend to practice at all between events. He pretty much stays clear of the table, puts his cue away, and the only practice he effectively gets is match condition practice in the early stages of events. But his game is obviously quite well honed at this particular point in time, having just come from off the back of a win in Canada, Winnipeg in Canada, direct to here, Melbourne, and then prior to that in Ireland. So with 3 tournaments back to back, he's had a lot of table time.
Yeah, many years of playing. Guys like Peter, Mike, etc., all started playing in the Teesside League, and they've been playing since they were kids together. And it's all muscle memory. I think when you get to their level and their age, it's you don't lose it. I've noticed with Peter, he's a very interesting cueist. Especially from when he's in hand, he's very much cues below the ball, but hits high. It's very natural. It looks like he's it's just happens naturally for him.
Yeah.
Now here's a tough shot here. He's left.
And again here, well, he's got a choice. He can either play the slow drag in off the white into the corner bag with a bit of left-hand side, or he could choose to play probably the screw cannon off of the red, bringing the red back down the table. But that's more difficult because of the distance between the red and the opponent's white. Controlling the red might be a bit more challenging.
Yeah.
Or alternatively, there is the in-off in the middle, but I don't think he's playing that.
He might a little touch aside if he does play that shot. No, he's playing the screw.
Yeah, he's missed that.
He's missed that shot.
122.
He's playing it in that fashion that he's played there. He's made it quite difficult for Sourav to find a scoring shot here.
So Sourav he's a good 650 points down at the moment, roughly, and he's got a lot of work to do here. Peter's left him a difficult opener.
So, I mean, you know more about the nationals that are taking place commencing tomorrow than I do, Grant. Do you have Cue Ball TV live streaming for some of the latter stages of that as well?
I believe for the final, it's quite typical to have Dan in with all the equipment, and usually we get a few guys in commentary, and it's a great day. It's usually two long sessions. We usually get a lot of viewers for that too.
Maybe I'm sure it's in hand, but maybe a good idea to put something up on social media to that effect with an indication as to where the link might be found, so that the interest can be maintained from the likes of the UK and other parts of the world as well, to be able to have a look in to see what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the time zones do come into play a bit, but we do get a lot of viewers from OS that do tune in. But once again, those that are viewing at the moment, share the link, subscribe to Cue Ball TV. Dan, he has a lot of events on during the year, not just billiards, obviously snooker, 8-ball, etc. So there's a platform for many types of cue sports, not just billiards and snooker.
Indeed. Yeah, widely used for 9-ball pool, I think, over here. Cue Ball TV, would that be right to say?
Two-shot pool. It's very big. I think that's probably the main, the main cue sport that's shown on Cue Ball TV. Obviously, a lot of events for the two-shot pool. It's quite big over here, two-shot pool.
Yep.
So once again, Sourav, he's got a difficult shot to open up a break. Peter's ball is in a good spot. It's just got to find that opener. He's elected to play safe here. That's not a bad idea.
We've obviously mentioned about the TV and the streaming side of things, but we haven't really touched on some of the sponsors of events of this nature, and I think it's only right we have a big shout out to Riventon and Chris Christoffi in terms of what he does for the game over in Australia, not just billiards but snooker as well as. If it wasn't for the likes of him, you wouldn't be able to stage events of this nature to be able to offer the prize money, to be able to attract the best in the world, not just for this, but the preceding event, the Reventon snooker, which had a total prize fund, 25,000 Australian dollars.
Yeah.
And this is 15,000 Australian dollars. So he's a major supporter over here, and very welcome, I would say, as well, for the whole of the billiards and snooker community.
Yeah, I mean, Chris was obviously a junior growing up, playing with the likes of Neil Robinson, etc. Grew up with all those boys, Steve Misford and James. And I believe a few years ago in one of the Australian Nationals, a sponsor did pull out, and luckily Chris jumped in, and from that day he's really supported our game. Obviously with the help of the Yarraville Club, they've established this wonderful facility for the sport.
Yep.
And I know he's got many plans to further increase the sport in our country.
Yeah, this, as you say, the Yarraville Club here, or this particular part of the Yarraville Club, is known as the Reventon Academy, and it's been how long? Probably about 15, 16 months now in its current location. Would that be about right? Something of that ilk.
It'd be close to. I think this is the second national we've played here.
Yeah.
It'd be around that time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, obviously having the extra tables, the existing club, we only had 6 tables there.
6 tables, yeah.
And with the increasing numbers in billiards, it was becoming harder to host larger events. We had later nights, etc. Obviously now we have a venue with 8 tables. It's fantastic.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so just rejoining the commentary on the game before us. Peter's back at the table after Sourav missing a fairly straightforward red to the centre. Now Peter's got the chance to make the points that will put him within touching distance of the title here, potentially. Leading as he is by the best part of 700 points or thereabouts.
So Peter's just trying to get the white in a position to play the white behind the spot and leave a pot red here. He's been doing this a lot this game. He's just been playing in-offs, keeping it simple, scoring points.
Just going back to Reventon and Chris Christophe, I believe Chris was a reasonably good standard player himself when he was younger, was he not?
Yeah, I believe so. Chris obviously being from another state, I'm from New South Wales and Chris is from Victoria. I do believe he was a good junior.
Yeah.
Back when Chris was playing, there were a lot of good juniors playing at that time. And it's good that Chris has stuck around and he's supporting the sport. Snooker and billiards gives us as players so much, and it's good that he's been in a position to give back to the sport.
I think you often find that where people have got the ability for the game, whether it be the snooker or the billiards game, they tend to, if they're in a position to be able to give something back, they love the sport to the degree where they will give something back.
Yeah.
And power to their elbow in that respect.
So Peter's just looking at where he wants to leave his cue ball here. He might be looking at an in-off white or a cannon, leaving the option. He might be doing too much with this.
Yeah.
So he's got the option there to play an in-off white or a cannon. I dare say be looking at the in-off.
The slow cannon, I think, is the option here, with a little bit of right-hand side just to hold the yellow. Not too bad. Could have been better, a little bit softer maybe, but now knowing Peter here, he may play the soft screw cannon, or is he going to just take the standard red? Take the standard red.
Probably looking to land in a
All
similar
round
position.
the table, I think. No,
he's looking to land in a similar position to his last shot. He's got the option again.
This is a similar shot to what Sourav played earlier, but he put a little bit too much stun on it and pulled the ball across.
So less than 300 points required for Peter to win this match. I'm sure Peter will be looking to get to the top of the table here and finish this match off. How have you found the tables, Gary, this trip?
Excellent, I have to say. I mean, all of these 8 tables here were recovered just before the event, and they've played lovely. I mean, we had the same exactly the same last year. No complaints at all. I don't think at all. I mean, you always maybe arguably you could pass negative comment about any table in any situation, but I don't think it's worthy of that. I think, you know, it is a difficult thing to get the tables right. It's not an exact science, and I think they played extremely well.
Yeah, and a shout out to Alcox and their table fitters. They always do a fantastic job.
Yeah,
they are the premier table fitters in our country.
Yeah, I remember last year one of the Alcox fitters was here after day one. Had a problem with this exact table, actually, the one they're playing on now, where there was a slight adverse roll. One of the fitters came down with all the kit imaginable to be able to adjust that mid-event.
So while Peter plods away there, we'll give a mention to our sponsors for this event. A big thank you firstly to the Yarraville Club. The staff at the Yarraville Club are fantastic. They've looked after the players and officials all this week, and unfortunately for them, they've got to put up with us for next week too, for the national. But they've been fantastic, provided a lot of support for our sport. Also to Consolidated Leisure and Sport. I'm not sure if you're aware, but they're one of our major sponsors for all events. They provide the cloth, balls, etc. for our events. It's fantastic to have those guys on board. They've been sponsors for many, many years.
Peter's just run out of position a bit here with the double kiss on the way down with the drop cannon. So having to play a recovery shot.
We've touched on obviously Reventon and those guys. Thank you very much for your support once again. World Billiards, obviously. World Billiards is a forever growing organisation. A lot of good people involved. They've done a lot for our sport. Especially, you know, we've got Jason involved in Australia and now at the world level. Jason's been fantastic for our sport. And obviously the guys over in the UK who established World Billiards with the support of Jason Ferguson, etc. You would have had a bit more exposure with the World Billiard crowd over there.
Yes, indeed. I was part of, I suppose, the early days set up when it was EBOS before the transition from EBOS to WBL. Back in about 2009, I think that was the transition over. I ran one of the World Championships at Leeds during that time, but in terms of administration of the sport, I've done my stint, so to speak. Work has to take precedent over things of that nature now, and they've done a great job in moving it forward and making the tour what it is effectively, with so much choice available now since World Billiards have been involved, and over that period of time being able to get events such as this as part of the world schedule. Yeah, it's been a great achievement, definitely.
It's fantastic to see events in such countries as Canada. You know you're doing well when you can hold world events in countries not really associated with the history of billiards.
No, you say that, but the league of which was kind of the forerunner to having the events in Canada. The Winnipeg League has been in existence for almost 100 years now. In fact, they are looking to bid, I believe, for the World Championship in 2021, which will be their 100th year centenary. They certainly stage a fantastic event over there, and I think their ability to be able to fundraise as well to supplement what is the normal levels of prize money for that kind of championship is pretty much second to none. We're obviously accepting that you guys over here do incredibly well as well. There's certainly an appetite for it, and they're always fantastic hosts.
Yeah. Well, you know, the sport's in a good place where countries have to bid to host a world event.
They do. They do.
With some events, it's unfortunately, as we've seen with some of the IBF snooker, is whatever country's willing.
Yes.
The sport's in a good spot when countries do have to bid to host an event. We just heard Jason from Billiards Australia mention before the possibility of ticket sales.
Correct.
Coming to play for the world titles in October, which is probably a first.
Yeah, Jason's already mentioned that when he was in the commentary box here. There will be it will be a ticketed event. The kind of the level at which the RACV club is, and the kind of people that frequent that allows that to be so. Which isn't always the case wherever you go, but certainly it is a piece to be here in Melbourne. It has the opportunity for a number of associated corporate events to take place as part of that World Championship.
So Peter's up to 91 here in this break. He's getting closer to the 1500 mark. I'm not sure if he's crossed the Baulk line yet. We've been chatting away. It's we have to say thank you to our sponsors, etc. So those listening to the commentary, sorry we can't keep up to scratch with the game, but we do have to thank some people.
An unusual way there to cross the Baulk line, but I'm not quite sure he's managed it actually. I think he's just come up shy. I think maybe an inch or two shy. It's difficult to see from here on the VR. And now it's quite difficult now. He's on 94, so he has to cross the Baulk line before he reaches, or as part of reaching or exceeding 100. So he's only got a couple of shots to play with here to be able to go across the Baulk line. And so he's on 96 now. What he it's a difficult one. This is
a difficult one, yeah.
It's a very difficult one.
It looks like he's looking at the cannon off the bottom cushion.
Yeah, not easy at all here. Yeah. He might be forced to try and do it off of the red with an element of right hand side, hitting the ball quite hard.
Yeah.
Although I think he's trying to play the in off here, but that would take him to 99. Yeah.
So once again, we see a missed in off. They're always tricky on these new cloths. If you get too much of the ball, they just spring off at right angles.
Yeah. The shot he was trying to play there, of course, was the in off the red there to take him to 99, and he would have potted the red from hand in the middle with a lot of pace going up and down the table to cross the Baulk line. Not ideal at all.
Sourav's just underhit that ball there. He would have liked it a little bit closer to the centre pocket. Luckily, he's got Peter's ball just near the pocket there, so he can use that to recover the red. So just back to the sponsors while Sourav is trying to get that red back in play. We have Billiards Australia, who have been responsible for many...
Oh, he's lost the yellow.
He's lost the yellow, yeah.
And that invariably happens when you're chasing it and you're behind. It's a funny game how the balls can conspire against you. Another day, another time, that would have finished perfectly near the red to enable him to play a cannon and get both balls back in play.
So I'll be looking to get both balls in Baulk here. He's got to avoid the pot red, which he has.
Yeah, and he succeeded by playing that very well indeed. That now forces Peter, I think, to try and shift the red.
Peter's played some remarkable double Baulk shots this weekend.
He has.
Yeah.
He has. Yeah. Now, the shot here could be to stun the red in, to leave the in off yellow, or that's... And that's what he's played.
Yeah.
Played it very well.
He's a great cure, Sourav. He doesn't move on the shot at all.
No.
Very
No,
still.
very compact.
Yeah. Yeah, and even though he's 700 odd points down, you won't see much emotion from Sourav. He'll just go about his business.
Yeah, very calm and collected.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it was mentioned at the top of the commentary here, but of course Sourav is on his second final this week, having made the final and also won the Reventon Classic Snooker earlier on in the week and secured that. So he's had a good week, I would suggest.
Yeah, it's no mean feat to make the final of both disciplines. It's he's done fantastic. I think he had a good year last year too. Very solid snooker player. Obviously, with the game in India, they do play a lot of snooker and billiards. You know, as part of their, I suppose, sponsorship from their companies, they do play for a lot of leagues in India.
Indeed, the Indian players. They are the top level Indian players such as Sourav and the likes. They are considered employees of some of the larger organisations in India, and the reason for that is that there's a requirement in business in India for the top organisations, the real big organisations that are the equivalent of the FTSE quoted companies, that's financial services provision, that they put a percentage of their net turnover into sport, back into sport, and that's not just across billiards, snooker, but multi-sport. We're talking tennis, cricket, all of the sports that are prevalent within India. So that they have a number of sports people that are employed by the big organisations such as Oil and National Gas Corporation, Railways India, Statoil and the like. And they depends on where you are within the world at your particular sport. It depends on how much you are required to actually physically work, maybe with an office job or but the likes of Sourav and Dhruv Sitwala as another, well, they wouldn't have to work probably more than one day maximum. In fact, I think that when you're right at the top of the sport, you probably don't have to work at all. They get paid to play effectively as to participate, which is a real bonus, and that enables them to have an edge in some respects on other countries, because we don't have that provision certainly in the UK, and it's probably not prevalent in Australia either, is it, Grant? I wouldn't think.
No, not at all. It's a very interesting concept, and that's probably why India's produced, you know, a large quantity of world champions and top players. It'd be great to have the luxury of being able to play the sport you love and you know, not having to worry financially.
Mm-hmm.
So Sourav's got the opponent's ball behind the spot here, trying to work that red into play and go up to the top of the table.
Yeah, exactly 700 points adrift at this particular point in time.
Yeah.
56.
And Peter, of course, he's considered a full-time sportsman in Singapore.
Yeah, Peter's been over there for a number of years now, and he enjoys his role over there. A lot of support from the government for Peter.
Okay. I think I just lost my mic a little bit there, but that's now been corrected. So hopefully you can hear much better now.
So Sourav's at the top of the table here, floating white. Wants to keep the opponent's ball not directly below the spot, but just to the side. Gives you a little bit more tolerance playing top of the table. I'm sure the likes of Matthew, etc., would have touched on top of the table play when they were in commentary.
Yeah. One thing we haven't seen a lot of this week at all, Grant, is postman's knock. I haven't seen anybody really play that at all. It doesn't seem to be the thing for the Australian players to consider that. Whereas certainly for some of the top guys in the UK, they like to play that, like to effectively maroon the opponent's cue ball tight to the top rail. Whereas a lot of what we see here is the floating white top of the table.
Yeah, it seems to pop up only when the opponent's ball lands there by accident. A lot of the players over here can play quite well. We do see Matthew play postman's knock a fair bit when it's there. Steve Missett is another great example of someone who can play postman's knock quite well. Obviously, less margin for error with postman's knock, so hence a lot of the players do play this floating white as we see here.
Yeah. And yesterday in just talking about floating white here, with traditional floating white as at top of the table here with the opponent's ball behind the spot. Yesterday saw Peter play quite a run of reverse top, where the opponent's cue ball was moving gradually between the spot ball and what is effectively the pyramid spot before it's recovered back to position. Again, Peter's very, very good at that particular method, and it's what billiard players kind of tend to know as taking a holiday from traditional play. That's a little bit unfortunate. Sourav's gone in off there into the middle bag, ruined his position somewhat, made it a little bit challenging now to keep the break going.
Yeah. Luckily, Peter's ball hasn't landed directly behind the red. He's got a bit of room here to play the run through. It's hard to control the red position, but we'll see how he goes here. So hopefully...
He's not got the pace right, I don't think, for that. Or has he? I think he's probably just about managed it, only just, to be able to squeeze the in off the red here.
Yeah.
It's not straightforward by any means, but... yeah.
That's the beauty of new cloth. You don't have to play those balls too low. You can get away without losing the red into the baulk.
Yeah. And again now, a couple of shots and we should be back on with top of the table here.
It'd be great to see Sourav knocking a sizable break here and just put a little bit of pressure on Peter.
Yeah, certainly, and to also keep the match alive.
Yeah,
I think that's what all the viewers will want to see.
He had a fantastic semi-final yesterday against Sourav Harrier, and I think at one stage he was 400 points down and really put his head down and knocked in some reasonable breaks and put some pressure. on Javage and went on to win the match. We're looking to do the same here. This is the beauty about points up too. It's you know, you're 600 odd points behind, and you know there's not an hour left. You've got plenty of time. If the opponent's not at the table, you can stay there as long as you need to and get that lead back.
Yeah, you're right. It does have so many advantages over the time format. That, of course, being one of them. As with the time format, invariably, if you get two extremely good players, you can end up with the last maybe half an hour, even hour sometimes, if a player really runs away as being dead,
Yep.
where a match can't be won and you're almost going through the motions then. But also, I think that with no time implications with the up format, there's no pressure on the potential for slow play or the potential for time wasting, which sometimes does come into effect, which is unwanted, of course, but there is an advantage to be gained by that, and not one that I would certainly recommend, because it's considered gamesmanship and not really the right thing to do. But you do see some players employ those tactics, which are less than great. But this, of course, of the up format, it's that is alleviated completely.
Yeah.
It's not part of the equation. In this particular event, we've had the mix, of course, of timed within the group stages, which enabled us, or the running of the event to be more certain in terms of sessions and the like. When you've got best part of 100 group matches to get through, you need that kind of surety of start and end. So that's helped, and that I think it's worked pretty well actually with the transition over from time to the long up of varying distances in the knockout stages.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic mix they've got this year. It does cater for the vast majority of players. You know, there's obviously very much a big gap in ability, and obviously it caters for the players of lesser ability. They do get some table time. They're not just getting walloped, 500 to a low score.
Yep.
They're actually getting 2 hours worth or 90 minutes worth of billiards, and it's good for the top players too, because obviously they can adjust to the tables and prepare themselves and knock in some big breaks later on in the tournament too.
Yep.
So Sourav moves to 147 here, still at top of the table, and he's looking good.
Yeah, and this is exactly what he needs to keep Peter away from the table for a sustained period of time.
Yeah.
And to start to exert a little bit of pressure on the scoreline. And of course, even with a seasoned campaigner such as Peter Gilchrist, if Sourav can get to within touching distance of him, then the pressure does start to build a little bit in terms of actually getting across the line then. And it, unwanted things can creep into your game in terms of tightness of the cue arm and various other aspects.
So he's got Peter's ball nice and tight to the red spot here. Great position to knock in a big break. Doesn't have to do too much with his cue ball.
And for those of you that the viewers that don't necessarily understand the nuances of the game, the object here is to try and keep the opponent's cue ball as close to the spot where the red is as possible, to make the cannon so much more easier, so there's just glancing blows almost. Which means that your margin for error in terms of placement of your own cue ball, whether you're coming off the top cushion or the side cushion, is so much greater, because you've got a wider range of shots that you're able to play to end up with the same result.
Yeah. He's played a nice little shot there. He's chosen to push the red towards the pocket and play on the underside of Peter. They're very tough shots. So once again, he'll be looking to get a little bit high. He's lifted his head again. He's been doing that a few times this match.
Yeah, a little bit of a twitch there.
Yeah. He's missed a few little win-offs and pot reds.
Sometimes when you're cueing what effectively is slightly blind off the rail like that, you end up not pushing the cue through straight, and I think that's partially what's happened there, together with the little twitch at the end, which has meant that he's missed the red.
Yeah, and obviously on new cloth, it really finds you out if you're not cueing straight. So Peter's left himself a natural cross loser there, and he's got a few in-offs to play, and then he'll be looking to get back top of the table pretty quick here.
Yeah. Ideal opportunity here now, needing less than 170 to close the match out. 200.
Just over 200, Gary.
Yeah, just over 200. My maths is not so good this afternoon. Thanks, Grant.
That's it. Neil Brown refereeing this match. Neil's been around for many years. He's done a lot of national and open finals. One of our more experienced referees.
Second year in succession, he's officiated the final as well, I think.
Yeah, of this event. We also got Kim Ovett too, who's a fantastic billiard referee. She did our national final last year. Did a great job. We're lucky to have some good referees in the sport.
Indeed, you have some excellent referees over here, I must say.
It's actually good to see some of the players referee. There's not many sports in existence where you get a top level player having to referee, and it's quite surreal to see the likes of Peter, etc., having to referee a match.
Quite right. Quite right. Yeah, I mean sometimes the referees do go unpraised. I mean it is actually quite a difficult job when you're having to keep the utmost concentration for what are very long periods of time, and they do a very good job in that. And it's not often you see one of these top referees make a mistake, whether it be with a scoring or lose concentration.
Yeah. While we're talking about referees, just like to thank the VBSA for providing the referees and support for this event. Got our tournament director Paul Cosgrove, who does a fantastic job. Keeps all the players in line, which can be difficult at times. He's lost a bit of position here. What's he playing here, Gary? This is he's looking at that red there with the white in off. Looking at leaving a drop cannon here.
The aim of the game there was to pull the white off the cushion a bit further so he could just play the standard drop cannon. Now he'll play from red to white.
This is one thing that Peter's very good at. When he doesn't have position, he keeps those balls relatively close, and obviously plays a number of cannons until he eventually has the balls in position where he can play a positive shot.
Indeed, yeah. Now options here, in off the opponent's white, thin, with a tracer right hand side just to pull it in.
He's played that relatively plain ball.
He's probably just under hit that again slightly.
Another tricky shot here to keep the break going. Doesn't have much angle to play in off on either of the balls.
Yeah, limited in what he can do here, option-wise. Knowing Peter, he might decide to play from hand off of the side cushion first to get the cannon, potentially just below the middle pocket, placing his yellow close to the green spot to start with.
He might be looking...
or play the run-through cannon, pushing the red towards the corner pocket and getting the cannon off his yellow when they meet. That might be another option.
It's a big target towards that corner pocket there, so it looks like the shot.
That's what he's gone for. He's played a very, very good shot.
That's a good result considering where he left those balls.
That's a very, very good result. I'm not sure he played the pot red. I think he played the cannon to meet in a corner, but the result is speaks for itself.
Here's another case of just keep it simple. Push the red towards the pocket, play the cannon, and take it from there. Obviously these top players, when they are playing cannons, they're not just playing the cannon to produce the cannon, they're looking at putting things like the opponent's ball near the centre pockets to produce continuation shots on. So on that last cannon, Peter did push the opponent's ball towards the centre pocket. I'm sure that will come into play soon.
Just finished slightly awkward there.
Yeah.
He was looking for either the pot red into the middle or the in off white. Maybe he can just get through to the in off white here. Yeah. And now the long loser from hand off of the red.
It's been interesting watching the players. This is obviously on a centre spot, so it's not such a big issue, but a lot of players have been avoiding these long losers and keeping the shot simple. On the new cloth and the conditions we've had, it has been difficult to play these long losers. And it's been interesting to see the approach of some of these top players.
Yeah, well, these cloths, they've been playing slightly wide. So the normal, what you would class as a normal path for the ball to be taken is slightly exaggerated in terms of its angle, which and that's true for any of the long losers, whether it be from hand off of the centre spot or when you've got a ball somewhere in the bottom half of the table playing the long loser.
So he's not on the natural line here. He's playing sort of a touch of right hand side. Played in off. Pushing the red towards the centre pocket, a little bit short. He's still got the opponent's ball sitting over the pocket there for another in off. So he'll work with that.
Now, and again with this heavy cloth, just the position of the opponent's white ball there, to go in off there, it's important that you get through the ball, so it's above centre striking. Can't afford any stun on it whatsoever, otherwise it will just pull it up. And he's played that well.
Yeah, it's so crucial on these new cloths to play high of the ball and get through the cue ball. I noticed on my first match, I had to play on the star table with the wider rails, and which is unusual, and it's harder to get through the ball, on top of the ball with the wider rails. So that made it quite interesting. It actually gets you focusing quite a lot to get that ball rotating.
Indeed, indeed. And it's those type of tables that really find you out in terms of your cue action, because you've got very little margin for error in terms of physically getting through that ball. You have to finish the shot. You can't have any hesitation at all on it. And he's played an excellent shot there to pull the white behind the spot.
Yeah, very attacking shot there from Peter. And a good 600 points up, and the match within his grasp. Very confident shot.
And now almost in perfect position here. White to red, cannon.
Yeah.
And now he's 200 points away from the finishing line, if my maths are correct this time, Grant.
He's 150 away from the finish line.
I tee you up there nicely with that one.
Yeah. So he's still got to navigate the Baulk line crossing. To win the match. Breaker 73, he's approaching that 80 mark. It shouldn't be an issue from where he's at the moment. We saw with his last break in the 90s, he lost position and had to play a shot and did fail to cross the Baulk line. So he's elected to play another cannon. He's
yeah. Baulk line warning will have been given there by the referee.
Yep. So the aim here is obviously to land low on the red, which he's done here.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5 cushions, and just above would be ideal. He's finished just below, but that's no great drama. It's just a straightforward slow pot into the opposite corner
Back
to
in
leave
business.
the little cannon back in position. And this is almost what we was talking about earlier on, where you've got postman's knock, where the opponent's white ball is pretty much on the cushion.
Yeah, I was looking forward to seeing a little bit of postman's knock there, but he's disturbed the
He
opponent's
decided
ball.
to pull it away
Yeah.
first shot.
It's definitely an art, postman's knock, and obviously Geet said he was the best exponent of postman's knock. It's good to see Geet playing again. He's had a bit of a hiatus from the game, and he's back playing again.
I think another really good exponent of postman's knock, the English player Phil Mumford tends to play that an awful lot. He's very, very good at it.
Yeah, very fast player, Phil, too.
Yeah.
He's fantastic to watch when he's in full flight. Very smooth.
So he passes the 100 break mark, now needing just over 115.
Obviously leaving a little
For
angle
the
for the
match.
cannon here to push the opponent's ball back towards the spot and leave the red for a pot.
That's another thing that I think has been been something that we've all been thankful for this week as well. The tables have run so true, so you have the ability to be able to play those slow cannons knowing that where you're aiming for is where you're going to hit, unless you put a trace of unwanted side on the cue ball. Whereas invariably, if you get slight rolls, playing those shots almost make them impossible to play, and you shy away from playing it, and you end up playing something that you don't want to play. You know, like the hard cannon, the forcing cannon, or the long pot red. But these tables are very, very true.
Yeah, they are. And we had an interesting discussion the other night. A lot of these tables are 4 slate tables, which is sort of an unheard of thing to a lot of you English guys. You'd never really heard of the 4 slate tables.
No.
Obviously, the slate joint is in the centre of the table.
Yeah, through the line of the 2 middle pockets. Yeah, that's pretty much unheard of in the UK. They're nearly all 5 slate examples that you'll see in the UK.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a good probably 30-year period where they were bringing 4-piece slates to Australia, and obviously the height of the game was around that 1900s, the 1920s and 30s, and that's when a lot of these tables probably date from. So hence there are a lot of 4 slate tables in Australia.
And the slate that they use that they use for these tables, granted, was that Italian slate as well, or was it more close to home in terms of its origination?
But well, I mean, a lot of the original tables would be in the Welsh, the same slate that you guys had.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it all originated from the UK. I believe a lot of the slate that is used now, we did go through a period of Italian slate, and a lot of the modern tables now, I believe, use Brazilian slate.
Right.
So there has been a bit of a transition period with the slates that have been used.
Now Peter might just be able to get through there with a touch of left-hand side, just to turn his yellow around the white slightly to make the angle to pot the red. In fact, it looks as though the way the yellow came off the rail, he could get it plain ball.
Yeah. So not far away now for Peter. We might say thank you to the members of the Yarraville Club, especially the snooker and billiards members, for giving up their room for us to enjoy. It's been a fantastic venue, and thanks to the Yarraville Club and their snooker and billiard members for allowing us to use their room this week.
Indeed, and thanks to all the organising committee for all of the work that they put in through quite a sustained period of months prior to the event actually taking place, and to all of the referees that have participated and put in the hours over the days to make the event what it is. And also, I think, a big shout out, although it will be probably given within the closing ceremony, to our TD this week, Paul Cosgriff, who's done an absolutely excellent job of managing the timing of all of the sessions and getting people in the right place fantastically. Without the likes of Paul and unsung ability, I think, sometimes for that role, these things just wouldn't happen.
Yeah, it's always a smooth event when Paul's in charge of the running of the events. He runs a tight ship, and as players we do appreciate it, because we know where we need to be and what time we need to be there, and if we're not, he makes sure we are.
Yeah, he's a hard taskmaster, but a fair one, I think.
Yeah.
So the break reaches 160, and he's now 55 points away from the finishing line.
Yeah, so he's just got one more Baulk line crossing to negotiate to reach that mark.
And that could have finished a lot better than it has, that's for sure.
Yeah.
He may well have to... Don't think he can go behind them from playing from where he is. He may have to decide to come off the side cushion, perhaps, to play the cannon.
Yeah.
This needs an awful lot of side on it to be retained off the rail to get the cannon. He's got it. And that was a much better shot than it actually looked.
Yeah. So once again, just keeping it simple, pushing the red towards the pocket, keeping the break going. A lot of players don't concentrate on the opponent's ball, and sometimes leave the opponent's ball on the cushion. You'll see a lot of these top players that they really concentrate where they leave the opponent's ball to continue the break on.
At this particular stage of the match now, needing less than 50 points, he can almost ignore the opponent's cue ball and pretty much play red ball play. You don't see red ball play much these days, actually. It used to be a mainstay of some of the older players years ago, especially a guy called George Bray, who made it, turned it into an art form, I think, didn't he, really?
And had a book called Red Ball Play.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Peter's on 177 here. He will be getting the Baulk line crossing rule soon. So this break's not finished yet. He's still got a bit of work to get that ball into position for his ball to cross the Baulk line.
Again, I think Peter likes a bit of variety within the game, and he'll probably try and get the red into a position where he pulls it back closer to the Baulk line to where it is at the moment, so he can pot it into the centre bag potentially, and with a lot of pace to go up and down the table to cross the Baulk line.
Yeah.
You may see that happen to close out the game.
Peter pulled a little face there as that ball wiped its feet before it entered the pocket.
And this could be the time when he does it. Now we might see him play that forceful in, red in. He's just had a look at the score there.
Yeah. Yeah, he's just realised he does need to cross the Baulk line to
reach the winning line.
Yeah.
So the forceful shot, there we go. In and out of Baulk.
And this is what's great about the rule. It puts players in a position they have to play these unorthodox shots. And it does make it quite interesting, especially when they don't have position.
Yeah, he's made it a little bit awkward for himself there. So he's still got the in-off red into the corner bag with a little bit of pace, or he might have potential for a slight run through cannon, which I think is what, or the in-off white actually into the corner.
Yeah.
He might end up losing the opponent's white in the opposite corner, potentially. He's played it well. Played it very, very well.
I think that's the match-winning shot
I think
right
that's
there.
the match-winner right there. Yeah, definitely. Can't see anything troubling him now to achieve the 23 points he needs to close out the match.
And as you say that, Gary, look what's happened.
Yeah, I think that's what they call commentator's curse.
Yeah. Clap from the crowd there, but he didn't want to see that opponent's ball drop. Still with 19 points required.
19 points shy. So, question is, does he play the safety, or does he try the in-off into the corner bag?
He's playing below centre. Looks like he's going for the in-off here. Oh, no.
He's played the double Baulk, or attempted it.
This could be a bonus.
Oh, that would have been a bonus.
Yeah.
But now he's left a not too easy shot for Sourav here.
Yeah, he's got two options here. He's got the in-off into the green pocket.
Has that just crept out of Baulk, has it?
Yeah. He may play safe. Obviously, being this far behind, you'd have to have a go, wouldn't you?
Yeah, you'd have to. You'd have to. He's played that well.
Yeah. He was hoping for the kiss there on the red ball to bring it into play.
He's left himself a tough shot now, though. Now, you might see him play a cross loser here. It's a difficult shot, but maybe his only option here. So that's off the red, onto the cushion, across into the opposite middle bag.
Yeah.
Pushing the red down the rail. He's played the other option for the cannon. Hasn't worked out.
I'm surprised he's missed on that side of the yellow.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such a big target on the bottom side.
Just put a little bit too much side on it.
So once again, he's left Pete an easy opener.
See, Peter Tankard has just come in with a comment. Dominant display from the great PG in full fluid flow and so graceful. I think that kind of sums it up, actually.
Very poetic, Peter.
Very poetic,
Yeah.
Peter, yeah, as ever.
Mm. And once again,
Now he's
he's lost that ball. It's the finish line is not as easy as what it should have been here. He's forced him to play in a pot red.
with Peter straight queuing, you'd expect him to pot this with some ease. And he has indeed.
Great pot. The crowd appreciated that pot there.
So 11 needed.
Yeah.
2 pots off the spot. Up to the centre spot for 9, and then in off the opponent's white to close the match out, I'd suggest.
So as this match possibly draws to a conclusion, we'll once again thank the Yarraville Club, the Yarraville Club, the Billiards and Snooker Club, Consolidated Leisure and Sport, World Billiards, Reventon, Billiards Australia and the VBSA.
And he's done it, there we go. Congratulations, Peter Gilchrist, 2019 Pacific International Billiards Champion, defeating Sourav Kothari from India, 1,500 points to 706.
And thanks to Cue Ball TV for providing this fantastic coverage of our event and all the commentators who have jumped in and helped today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to Cue Ball TV and please share. We will have the Australian national coverage in the coming days, so keep an eye out for that. Thank you very much, Gary, for your input today.
Thanks very much, Grant, too, for sharing the commentary box here. We'll meet again at the next event, I'm sure. Over and out.
Sourav. I'm very well, thank you.
Sorry, that's too hard, yeah. It's alright. It wasn't sluggish like some of the other guys. No. It wasn't like that. Nice and warm.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Could I ask for just a little bit of space in this area here? And people can be there, there. I'm very fortunate to be able to be in this position. This has been a fantastic 4 days for all of us associated with the Pacific International Billiards for 2019. I'm very grateful to being involved, especially the referees and the players and Dan and Hugh all putting me. This place just cannot function without the input and effort of all these people, and so I'm extremely grateful for that. My own personal thanks go especially to all the top class players that have come along, especially in our international business. Thank you very much. Joe, would you be able to come forward, please?
I didn't win any.
No, that's true. During the course of the coverage, we've had a number of expert commentators, and we also had Joe talking on the microphone. And there were a number of times with David and Joe where Joe said, well, good players would do that, but I don't think I would. Anyway, our sport to recite all of us over here.
Okay, this was written by Barry from the Bush, who was the opposed for Australian sportsmen. He wrote it in 1998 for the centenary, and we went down to, were you there, Nat, down at Flinders Park? Yeah, it was a big dinner for the centenary of Walter's birth. Okay, here we go. I'm going to be emotional. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about this. The problem isn't the words, because most of these words are true. They're really display how good Walter was. It's 121 years since Lyndon was born, 59 since he left us to remember and mourn. For outstanding champions seldom are seen, immortals are rarer, few there have been, who excelled at their sport with his skill and his flair. He shadowed opponents, they were left in despair. Lyndon played billiards like Mozart composed, his genius inspired, your emotions exposed. Enthralled you would listen to the tune from his table, for Lyndon made music as the maestro was able. His cue of the palm that caressed and excited, his change in the tempo surprised and delighted. To the camp crescendo, he thought you should cheer. But on went the music, no end was near. Rules will soon alter, he's too good, they said. He has to stop cannons and play moss instead. But it just didn't matter what committee agreed. He kept on scoring at an incredible speed. Record after record flowed from his cue. How good was Lyndon? Well, all the world knew. He cleared the best in September 31 for a Gold Cup in England, and his legend had begun. He gave 7,000 starts to the best in the land. The king called for Lyndon, he was in great command. He met every challenge thrown in his way. He became the world champion with an awesome display. He defeated Joe Davis with nonchalant ease. Lyndon untroubled, just did as he pleased. He returned to Australia, winning at will. He gave exhibitions every hall he could fill. He raised millions for charity and the same for the war. Player on those tables not seen before. His break of 4,000 will never be beat, made in 3 hours a miraculous feat. When we toast Walter Lyndon, we're toasting the guns, we're toasting the wattle as well as his son. Born in Australia, like Sir Donald Bradman, he went one destination, to inspire all Australians to reach greater heights. When I'm near the mechanics, I sometimes go in, it's long deserted, no tables within. I stand by the wall where queues fill the rack, and I gaze over that room and my memory goes back. To the day Lyndon played there, I see him once more. A master at work, a magician for sure. And I get him the music in that old empty hall, the call of 1,000 as he pops a red ball. I see him shake hands in his dignified way. I hear thunderous applause as he continues to play. Long jennies and massies and drags with check side. Those balls at his mercy with nowhere to hide. I leave the room proudly with my head held up high, knowing Walter Lyndon's immortal while I'm passing by.
event in Victoria. We hope to have it for many years. You know, it's an honour to be able to host this event in the National Billiards. So, you know, we're delighted. The BBSA, Paul, please pass on to your board our thanks to BBSA supports this event financially and logistically. Logistics is a big one. CEO Ness, sponsor of record of the ABSC, they provide most of the costs of this tournament. If we had to pay for the cost, the prize pool would be significantly lower. The Yarraville Club kick in a big chunk of money for this tournament. It really helps, you know, run the event. So go up there after this and drink heaps because they need to get some of their money back. All Billiards, we put some money in. Without that, we wouldn't have a decent prize pool. Billiards Australia put some money in. For those of you who haven't been around for a while, this tournament was worth $3,000 6 years ago. It went to 5, and then it went to 8, 12.5 last year, 15 this year. So we're heading in the right direction. People are starting to stop taking my phone calls. We'll get right. Paul, fantastic job. Thank you very much for your great TV. Everyone recognises you. It's nice to be recognised as the master in your field, and perhaps I wrote a poem about you.
It's not a bad referee.
Yeah, referees, speaking of referees, still around. Great job as always. Not always easy to be a great referee and like for the players, and you've got both those. Well done, man. All the other referees, fantastic. We all know it's just so hard to get referees. It's not appealing to many of the young guys that come. We really appreciate the referees. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to everybody who helped. Just lots of little helpers along the way. David Pitt helped with the sketch books. Where is it? It's just it's George Boyd processing all the entries. We had entries coming in for 5 different tournaments over the same time. I don't think anyone ended up with the wrong column, so that's a bonus. And thank you everyone for coming.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you very much, Jason. Very kind words. Thank you. The situation here is that we have been quite blessed. We've been extremely fortunate to have the standard field that we've had. It doesn't come about without a number of people working extremely hard. It doesn't come about without a number of very talented people making a huge commitment to be here. When we began last Saturday, I was quite thrilled that we had so many internationals who played in the snooker. I wasn't pleased that our $10,000 went out of the country.
And 2.5.
And I think that Sourav's effort in winning both the snooker and then making the final of the Billiards is really quite incredible. Thank you very much. Sourav Kothari is an inspiration to a lot of us. He's somebody who has worked extremely hard at his craft. It's not been an easy thing in terms of the manner he's had to apply himself, etc. But it has certainly paid off in terms of A, the manner in which we've seen him play, and B, the entertainment that he provides for all of us. And so we're very grateful to him for having made the effort to come over. Last year he played in the snooker and was knocked out, I think, in about the quarterfinals. And this year he came back determined to win. And then in the Billiards, he's really produced winning the World Championship in October of last year, and then to make the final of this event. He's done extremely well. So, Sourav, I'd like to present you with $2,400 as the here is the runners-up trophy. So, congratulations, very well done. Anush, can we just get a photo or something, please?
All right.
Thank you. Very well done. So let's give it
No, I just like Paul said, a lot of effort goes into organizing events like these. so happy to see so many players. And you know, back home people were asking me, you know, how's the competition like in snooker in Australia? And you know, I'm just fascinated. There's so many good players over here. 8 to 10 really solid players. Some of them have played the professional circuit as well. So I was really happy to win this snooker event and of course making it to the final in Billiards. Well done, Peter, on another fantastic tournament. Really played consistently for finals and probably deserves to win this event. And so yeah, I would just like to sign off by saying a big thank you to Australia. We love coming here, and you know, the proof lies in the fact that you know you see us turning up over here. You see the year almost. I think this is my 7th or my 8th trip to Australia. We've been to Sydney, we've been to Melbourne, Adelaide, and it's just fabulous. Very friendly people, the players, and it's like home away from home. And once again, I just want to congratulate Paul and of course Jason over here, who puts in a lot of effort. I've been in touch with him for a lot of reasons of late, and he's just there to help us instantly. So I just you know, thank you, carrying back great memories back home, and hope to see you very soon in couple of months time back here for the World Championship in our series. So I'm looking forward to that, and hope to see you guys soon.
Now, Peter Gilchrist doesn't escalate anything. He has a task to perform. Peter, if you come forward, please. In here, there are 483 raffle tickets that different people have bought, and these are the balls that were used in the final, and they will be presented to whoever holds the winning ticket. If you're able to open it, tell me what it says with bated breath. Hey, Raxie! They are yours, and Rex was kind enough to help us along with Praveen in terms of keeping the session average by recording all the visits through the course of the final. And I have much pleasure in advising you that Peter Gilchrist, the winner, averaged 58 through the You did slow down a little because you're averaging 62 when we took the break, but you've still done brilliantly. Peter, just step forward here, please. I've been extremely privileged to be involved in this sport, but I've been especially privileged to be involved with Peter Gilchrist. He's one of the finest gentlemen I've ever met. He's one of the finest billiards players I've ever seen. And he's been an absolute boon to me in terms of any time I've wanted to know anything about an international player and how they might be able to come to Australia, which for most people is the other side of the world. But for Peter, he's been the greatest supporter of both Australia and New Zealand and all the events that we've held over this side. And last year we had the event in Singapore itself. And those things don't happen without the fact that Peter is as good as he is in terms of talking to people, negotiating with them, and helping them to see that their efforts are appreciated and valued. So we're very grateful to have Peter here in the country anytime he's here, and we're especially grateful to have him here now. We're really pleased with his involvement in the 2019 Pacific International Billiards, and I would like to congratulate him as the winner. Now, I'll get the trophy first and see if we can get some photos. Please. Right. Thank you. And Peter, this is your winner's check, and this is for the high break of the tournament. I don't think there's any doubt in anybody's mind that somebody who can see a 400 break made on that table and then respond by making a 452 unfinished to go out in the 75 has really shown what they're capable of, etc. So I know it's not much money because we offered to up it by 100 if you got to 500. We offered to up it by 100 if you got to 600. Well, you'll have to just take 452 unfinished, but that is a great effort in itself. and I thank everybody who's been involved in the whole tournament. Obviously, we thank all their sponsors, and I look to ask people to say a few words. Thank you.
I think I'll thank you for being on, but massive thank you to Paul. You did a tremendous job, and also Jason. I don't think thank you for being said to Jason, so well done, man. He's done a good job.
Sourav, I'm glad I got one off you, because you couldn't with the student around I was just watching that, but I'm going to run to there, and you performed well, what you could do, so I'm really pleased to one thing I'm really pleased to do is take a side off Rob Paul Lee was last year, so it's just really great to get the Indian players over, you know, with everything that's going on in the sport. It would be really nice if even more Indians come over. You've got like Andrea around who's the ISF world champion. Howard is, in my opinion, the true world champion, the WBL world champion. But it would be good to get them all over here as well. I'm going to end by I've been away from my daughter now for about a month, and I told her that I'd tell her a joke if I wanted to know. So this is well, a funny thing happened. My sister is a teacher in a nursery school, and she told me a funny little one with two little boys, you know, they've been fighting. So my sister Anne said, "Oh, come on, get together, shake hands, come on, shake hands." So the two boys went. So my daughter Isabel's joke is this, and I'll leave you with this. Baby Balloon been having nightmares, and so Baby Balloon's been going into bed with Mommy Balloon and Daddy Balloon. So Mommy Balloon said to Baby Balloon, "Listen, from now on you're going to stay in your own bed. You know, no coming in with Mommy and Daddy. It's just not right. You know, you get quite old now, 6, 7 years old, don't come in." So anyway, they all go to bed. And about 3 o'clock in the morning, Baby Balloon had a little bit of a nightmare. So Baby Balloon goes in the Mommy Balloon, the Daddy Balloon bedroom, and tries to get in between them. Can't get in, it's just too big. So what Baby Balloon does, takes a little bit of air out of Daddy Balloon, takes a little bit of air out of Mommy Balloon, and takes a little bit of air out of Baby Balloon up, and just cools it nice and all nice and snug. Anyway, the morning comes, and Mommy Balloon wakes up and sees Baby Balloon next to her, and also Daddy Balloon looks. Baby Balloon wakes up, and Mommy and Daddy stare. And said, "Listen, what are you doing? We told you not to get in bed with us. You've let me down." It's always great to come over here. I'll come over with, next year as well, to defend it. You know, it's great to have so many friends over here that are happy all friends now. And so safe travels back, and hopefully we'll have a great tournament in October with all the World Championships. That's going to be a big one. So well done, everyone.
We'll all look forward to the World Championship in October, and just in regard to that, I have one small announcement. So, Jason Cole, step forward, please.
I've mentioned this before. So all these tournaments we have a high rate prize. As some of you know, 957 is the world record under the Baulk crossing rule. So we're setting a challenge to the players for the first 1,000 breakers of Baulk crossing rule. That was 2 days ago. The prize for the Baulk crossing of 1,000 in October would be $10,000. It's now $15,000, and we're still getting sponsors for that. That could be a big target for some of you guys. Plenty of practice on the tables will be good. The room climate control is very good. Pockets not too tight. Just it's a big target with big money. You can even make $1,000 there.
your life. In Global Living Time, you're hiring talented professionals to support you in your investment and financial decisions. Your future is Living Time's future.